you. Mr. Speaker, Liberals are silencing committees with Harper-like efficiency. They just shut down the Ethics Committee again, and the Justice Committee is under a cone of silence. Yesterday, the OECD's anti-bribery unit wrote the NDP and said they welcome our input on this matter. They're saying in the next meeting in June, they're going to put Canada's actions on corporate corruption on the table. Now, with no comprehensive investigation on its way and our reputation at stake, why won't this Prime Minister launch a public inquiry?
Hear, hear.
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm happy to explain to the member opposite that parliamentary committees are masters of their own decisions, and that is a principle in this Parliament that all parties should take very seriously. We thank the Justice Committee for its work, for the 10 hours of testimony they heard, and indeed we were pleased to give an unprecedented waiver to allow individuals to fully share their perspective on the matter at hand. As for the work that the Ethics Commissioner does on this side of the House, we have full confidence in our officers of Parliament.
The Honourable Member for Burnaby South. Order. The entire world is watching us. In response to our letter, the OECD's Anti-Corruption Unit repeated its call to closely monitor what is happening in Canada. And now that the Justice Committee's study is over, they're going to be watching more closely than ever. The Prime Minister needs to do the right thing. Will he reassure the OECD and especially all Canadians by launching a public inquiry? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. It's important to know the truth about this issue. And that's why we gave unprecedented permission to allow the former Minister of Justice to speak fully and openly about the subject under discussion. We set aside solicitor-client privilege and cabinet confidence. We trust the parliamentary committees who make their own choices and follow their own procedures, and we trust the Ethics Commissioner who is continuing his investigation. The Honourable Member for Burnaby South. The Prime Minister is out of touch with ordinary people. In an attempt to turn the page on the political interference scandal, the Liberal government gave $12 million to another rich company. $12 million to a company that makes billions of dollars in profits and which refuses to pay its employees a decent wage. Instead of giving money to the wealthiest, why doesn't the Prime Minister give those $12 million to people who really need it? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we know that fighting against climate change takes more than just empty rhetoric in the House. We need real action, real partnerships. That's why we're working with provinces across the country. That's why we're working with citizens by giving them help to undergo this transformation. And that's why we're also working with the private sector who have a role to play in fighting climate change. And we'll continue to lead the charge so that Canada will effectively fight climate change.
Member for Burnaby South.
Loblaws made hundreds of millions of dollars selling groceries to Canadians. Their owner is worth over $10 billion. I'm pretty sure Loblaws can afford to buy a few energy-efficient fridges. But Liberals are so focused on pleasing big corporations that they handed over a $12 million check to a massively profitable company. Why didn't the Liberals ask Loblaws to buy their own fridges and instead spend that $12 million on small businesses and Canadians who actually need the help?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Speaker, see, this is the problem with the NDP. They like to climb up on their high horse and make big speeches about protecting the environment when this government actually moves forward on doing that. And that means partnerships with the provinces. It means investing in Canadians and in renewable technologies. And yes, Mr. Speaker, it means partnering with the private sector so that we are moving forward on more efficient technologies and indeed fighting climate change. We understand that everyone needs to do their part to fight against climate change. That's something neither the Conservatives nor apparently the NDP understand.